Hey guys, this is Paul, Anna, Eric, and Ed with Curved Brim Media. And before we jump into the episode you've queued up, we want to take a moment to tell you about our newest sponsor, GlobalLeagueShop.com.
Global League works with top-notch designers to feature fantasy league and team logos emblazoned on t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, and more.
Personally, some of my favorite baseball team designs from Global League are the Wisconsin Big Cheese, the Cape Cod Bog Monsters, and the Tri-City Wise Monkeys.
In addition to baseball, the shop also features fun designs for bowling and soccer teams. Say what?
Believe us when we say there is something for everyone in the family to be found at Global League.
Go check it out and join the Global League at globalleagueshop.com.
Is there anybody there?
What's up, Data Crew, and welcome to another episode of the Data Chronicles. This week, we get to finish that wonderful episode with Brandon Lamarche. He goes into more of his design style, some of the stuff that he's worked on, and obviously, we go into my famous, not so famous questions. But before I give you guys the episode, I want to make sure to remind you guys that this week, Tuesday and Thursday, I will be live on my Dad Hat Chronicles sports show on the On Amp radio. I will have all of the details available for you guys. Every week I have a different co-host, so I wanted to make sure that you guys are joining me. We are going to talk about all sports, okay? Baseball, football, hockey, whatever you guys want to talk about, we will talk about it. So join me and my surprise co-host for that week. All right, now that we got that part out of the way, without further ado, guys, I'll give you the episode.
I think one of my favorites from that definitely was Seattle Creatures. I did based off of just like I did that whole identity based around, obviously the Pacific Northwest. Forrest did. You got the lumberjack plaid on the jersey arms, and then all the cryptozoology out there. People are nuts for any sort of random mythical creatures.
Yeah,
they could be hiding. You never know.
It could be out there.
And in doing that design specifically too, it was unique. Finding out, what you could do legally. Yeah. With so we worked with New Era's legal team, and a couple of these designs, like the Chicago Bluesman I did as well, and the alternate logo for the Creatures where we had the Space Needle. Yeah. Like we can't make this into a hat. There's the Space Needle is actually a copyrighted thing. We're like, really? You can copyright a building?
No kidding. Yeah, it looks cool because it has the claw grabbing the Space Needle. Yeah, dude.
I thought it was fun. And then the Bluesman one was they were like, well, it's people might confuse that for the movie, and we just don't want to take that risk. So we're gonna have to end up doing the alternate instead of holding the guitar in the back.
The cool one, I don't know what it is, but I really like it, the New York Bull Moose.
Oh yeah. That was my first hat club design I ever did. Yeah. Before we did the hockey stuff, they were like, just go nuts, give us some ideas. And I did that, as was one of my first ones. And that's actually a redesign of the original. It looks a lot better than when I first submitted. So I'm glad they didn't end up making that one, because this one looks way better.
Yeah. And then Colorado Rush, man, that's cool too, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was such a fun project. I'm just so bummed that these didn't end up getting made into anything. Maybe they're if someone wants one of these designs, they're available.
Heck yeah, I mean, dude, put them in the hat, sell those suckers because they're cool. How much fun did you have making the Copa brand?
Which one?
The Bolidos.
The Bolidos. Oh yeah, Bolidos was fun because Bolidos was, I believe, my second one. I had did the Nashville Vihuelas first, and
I'm looking at that one as well. Yeah,
and then we did the Bolidos. I did Bolidos second. It was one of those where I was doing that just as a side gig. I wasn't quite doing this full time, and I wasn't expecting to keep doing projects at the time. And so it was really fun and what sucked at the time is we were doing the Bolitos design around a lowrider, And this was before the first Copa brands, not the first iteration with the 4, but the first like big league blowout where a ton of teams did it. And literally as we did all these logos, we were ready to submit. They released the new ones, and look what Fresno did. They did a lowrider. So we were like, oh crap, now we got to pivot.
Now we got to bring it back and let's do something different.
And so what we ended up doing, we centered around car culture, like Latin car culture, and the paint jobs. And so I got to, you know, bolito is hot rod in Spanish, but it also means comet or asteroid. So you get in those kind of combining the two together, and then kind of using the whole, you know, unique paint jobs that they do on these lowriders and these hot rods that they soup up, and there's always stars and sparkles, and you know it shines just like an asteroid or, you know, a shooting star. So that's kind of what we did with that, and there's flames on the jerseys and stuff.
So cool though. I love it. And don't get me wrong, also the Vihuelas is such a cool logo with the guitars and on the hat and everything. That's, oh man, that's pretty cool, because it plays, you know, homage to obviously Nashville.
Yeah, that was a fun one to do too, and I've gone to do a couple more Vihuela stuff since the first iteration, and it's been a fun. I do have a new Copa coming out next season. So be looking out for one on my portfolio there. You know, it's a fun one. I like it. I think I'm going to take some of the cutting room floor logos and maybe put it up on Clink Room and see if we can make some new stuff there too.
That's cool. And then, you know, I've never really talked to somebody who does a lot of the design in Clink Room and all that. Like, how is that process? Like, is that process like you have to, you know, submit it for approval, and then they'll let you know whether or not they'll do that? And how does that work as far as you getting paid for that?
So the process is really streamlined since the first iteration that what they did.
Sure.
So basically every week, what you do, you just come up with an idea. You know, what story do you want to tell? You know, I did an idea of a hockey team in Hawaii. You know, what would that look like? And so I did it based around the Hanu, which is Hawaiian for sea turtle. And you know, you come up with this idea, you try to come up with the best looking logo you can, and you just shoot it out to them on Instagram. And so what they do, they curate all these ideas and they pick the 5 or 6 best ones every week, and they just post it and like say, hey, you know, which ones do you want to get, or the fans want to make into a design? And so they listen to the fans, and they use their own industry experience picking out what they think will sell. And and then they pick like the final 4 or 6, I think, I can't remember, with how many they do each week. And and then they sell for a month, and that's all you get for that design. You know,
whatever they sell is what it is.
It's a pre-order process, so whatever they sell, you better, you know, snag it quick, because you might not see it again. And they just started doing relaunches of old stuff, all the previous designs, but in new colors. So if you have a favorite design, you might see it again, and then once that month's up, then you get paid. You know, it's really nice, because then you get cash in your pocket, and you get a free new hat in a couple of months.
Okay, so you also get your own design as well as your hat.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. You get 2 copies of your hat. You know,
nice.
Whatever. Yeah, so it's fun. It's just really cool, and it's something I missed out on the first iteration, because I was in middle school during the first Clink Room iteration, and then it came out, you know, when I was obviously during COVID actually, and so it was a perfect time, and that's when I started getting all these other hats.
It's become so popular too, dude. Like I've never seen such a popularity for, obviously it's the 5950s, right? But like, you know, I wish they would do something along the lines of like, for what I wear, like the 47s, the cleanups and all that, just because I think it's also would be such a cool way of promoting them. Like, I mean, obviously it's not going to be to the same level as you guys, but I think they could also do some cool things through them as well.
Well, what they always say is they're always listening. So if you make a big enough stink, maybe things will happen.
I'm going to. I've been, obviously the grandiose people, they know, so they do something. That's awesome, dude. I love it. Your work again, like, I mean, your work is amazing. So I remember when I started seeing your stuff and I was like, man, this dude, I love the stuff that you design because it's different. It's different than, and I like it that because it's different than everybody else. Like all the designers, they got their own thing, and obviously you got yours. So, I like it a lot.
Well, thank you. I worry about every day that I'm copying someone's style too much, or someone like Dan Simon's who I draw homage a lot of what my work looks like, and I always feel like, man, this looks too much like that. Maybe I should
maybe take it a little different. Like, have you ever spoken with him and talked to him?
I have not. It'd be definitely a highlight of my life. Being like starstruck in the design. I've gotten to meet some celebrities and athletes, but I've never met too many designers in person. But
I'll tell you this, dude, he is one of the most coolest, down to earth dude you'll never meet.
He sounds like it.
Yeah, he really is.
I love the fact that his studio is an old firehouse.
I love that. That's
so
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. I've always wanted to, like, I told my wife before we moved down, I was like, we should buy a firehouse and convert it into our own house. And she's like, oh, that's great. No. You're right. We should.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. No,
you're right. It's a horrible idea. What was I talking about?
If I won the lottery, then that's the first thing I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm buying a firehouse. Don't know where, but I'm buying one, and I'm converting it into my office, my podcast studio. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Anything else that I haven't asked you, or anything along those lines?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Now we kind of covered a lot of the big stuff. Definitely, I would be remiss to talk about the All-Star game that never got played. Midwest League All-Star game.
I saw that. I love that logo.
Yeah. That was like about 4 years in the making. Doing
what?
That. Yeah. What happened was we had these design. It took about 2 years to make because they knew ahead of time. That they were getting this All-Star game, and so we submitted it, and then they're like, "Well, we want someone else to have the All-Star game ahead of you, so we're going to swap you places." And they're like, "Okay, fine, we'll swap places." And I think Peoria had it that year, and then like, "All right, now it's your turn." And like, "No, I think we're going to swap places again. This team just got a new brand. We want to highlight that." Okay, fine. And then COVID happens, and you're like, "Oh crap!" And then we got, and so it was so exciting to get that job, and then it was so deflating to
dude. Because I mean, I'm looking at the Eastern League hats, the Western League hats, all in different colors.
We were gonna make those. Those were gonna be legit, and just didn't get to. I think the uniform providers who made the jerseys were literally just sitting on these jerseys because now they weren't going to be used, and they ended up giving them to a summer league team and got into a little bit of trouble doing that. The Hot Rods were not happy about that.
Yikes. Whoopsie.
Because I don't think we had released the jerseys at that point, and so they were technically released a little early.
Oh yeah, whoopsie daisy. Well, I mean, because they are cool though, like the Eastern League in orange, Western League in the blue, with the orange piping on it. That's pretty cool. And obviously the logo on the side, that's pretty nice, man. I like it. Yeah. Is Bowling Green going to get it, or well, they don't do All-Star games really for the minor leagues really that much anymore.
They actually don't at all.
Yeah.
Except for, I believe, the college sponsored ones. So like the Appalachian League, I think, does an All-Star game.
They do. Yep.
But all of the other levels, I believe
they don't do it.
No interest from the league office, not from the teams. Teams are definitely like down to do it, but the word from, I've been told a couple of times from other GMs and stuff, they're like, the players don't like to do it, so we're not going to do it. And I don't think that's something that a lot of teams agree with, but it is.
Yeah,
You know, when minor league baseball went corporate, there's definitely a stink around the league for a little bit.
I agree. Yep.
But you know, yeah, they're, you know, it is what it is, and you know, they still do a good job with the everyday stuff, and I can't complain too much because you know I still get to do this stuff. And
right, like I was like, I'm not gonna throw too much of a stink, but
yeah,
I remember.
but yeah,
I'm not gonna forget what happened with the Midwest League All-Star game.
Yeah, so I mean, if any executives from Major League Baseball is listening, you know, the teams want to do it. So if you,
you know, and right, I know they have the All-Star game, like up, like you know, the futures game and all that during the All-Star game for the Major League. But I think it'll be cool to see like an All-Star game for, you know, because like everybody wants to show their skills nowadays, right? Like, I mean, that's just extra tape that they're getting to put to prove themselves. Right. I don't understand why that would not be why that would be such a big issue.
And it's such a cool community thing to have. Like I remember when I was a kid, me and my dad took a baseball road trip around kind of the Northeast there. I was living in Detroit at the time, but we went all kind of the eastern half of the United States, and we went to a minor league all-star game, and it was such a big deal for that town to have it. And it's just a shame that, you know, they don't want to do stuff like that anymore. And, you know, it's just a cool way to kind of highlight the town again, and stuff. But maybe in the future, you know, maybe they'll say, hey, we want to do this, and so
I like it.
Different.
I got one more question that I remember that I was going to ask you and I forgot to ask you. How was it living in Mexico for a year, dude?
I actually lived 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, I lived in Mexico when I was 3 to 6, and so I went to preschool, kindergarten in Mexico, and it was a cool experience. I lived in Irapuato, in I think the state's called Guanajuato, so in the same state as Mexico City is in, and it's definitely something that shaped my worldview more. I mean, we traveled a lot. It was kind of important for my parents. They wanted us to kind of see the world and
all the cultures and things like that.
Cultures, see that, you know, people do things different ways, you know, and it's something that eventually when I got to college, I wanted to do myself. And I actually lived in Australia for most of a year, and got to experience that. But yeah, it was really cool. Definitely took a lot of things from that, and I still don't know a ton of Spanish.
I was going to ask you, how's your Spanish?
I think it actually set my reading skills back a couple of years, because I had to read to learn in Spanish, and then I come back to the States, they're like, oh, you're a bit behind. You need to read in English now.
We need to reteach you everything.
Basically.
But you're like, but yeah, I know how to read in Spanish. Do you?
Basically.
I love it. Love it. All right, my friend. All right. Well, are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So the one question that I'm going to ask you is, you go to a ballpark, right? Yeah. You're going as a fan, you're going to go hang out with the family and everything. What is the one thing that you are like, you want to get, like something, what's your food of choice and your drink of choice?
Nowadays, it's always a hot dog and beer. It's got to be the classics.
Yeah.
You know, it's also the cheapest, especially when I go to Royals games. It's what I go for most of the time. But yeah, and if I'm going to a new ballpark that I haven't been to, I always get what their signature dish is. Like I went to Seattle and I got the garlic fries. I went to Pittsburgh for a game and they have some unique, I think it was some unique chicken item, but you know, whatever's unique in that area, you know, and minor league baseball is awesome for that sort of stuff. I know the Hot Rod is some like donut burger or whatever, you know, doing something, whatever crazy thing I can eat, you know, is just a fun experience. Cause again, minor league baseball is a circus. You might as well have fun with it.
You got to have fun with the food as well. Absolutely. All right. Well, do you also drink their local beer as well? Or you stay with, you know, the usual?
Well, most of the time, like minor league stadiums will have the local, so I guess yeah. But if I'm going to like a major league ballpark, I'm getting my Coors or my Bud Light. You know, I'm not gonna spend too much on beer at a major league ballpark these days.
Okay. let's see. Last movie you watched?
Last movie I watched in theaters or just in general?
Just in general.
I would have to say, I have 2 kids now, and it's been a while.
Yeah, I get it, dude. It's like, listen, here it has been, nothing but my daughter, she's about to be 5. So it's been all about Harry Potter. And we watched Harry Potter at nauseum.
That's cool. My oldest, he's 3, and we watch nonstop Bluey and Mickey Mouse. That's all we watch.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you though. I'm a huge fan of Bluey.
Oh yeah, me too. It's such a. I got to basically share my Australian experience with my daughter every day.
I love Bluey. Bluey's awesome.
I would say last movie I watched. I would have to say, I think it was the Batman, the new Batman. It got released on
HBO,
Amazon. I bought it and I had to watch it. I'm a huge Batman fan. I wish they would do a Batman Beyond movie. That's my hope.
Oh, dude, you just went old school. I was like with the cartoon.
Oh, that's the bread and butter. I kid of the 90s. You have to go to the animated series and then Batman Beyond.
Dude.
That's all I watch. Actually, when I design, I usually throw up one of those 2 cartoons half the time.
Really?
That's what's in my background. It's either that or sports documentaries or what,
I like it. Yeah. Yep. Lately I've been watching I'm doing this to myself, but I go on Disney, right? And I watched the whole Star Wars series in chronological order.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done that. That's fun.
From episode 1, and then now I'm in the Clone Wars, the cartoon. Yep. So I'm watching all of those. So I love watching. Just put it in the background and watch it and enjoy it.
You excited for the new show coming? I think next month.
Right? Yeah, dude.
Coming? Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited.
Super stoked. Heck yeah.
I'm a big prequelist. I love the prequels, and so
people hate them, and I don't know why, but I love them.
I love them too. They're so different, and I hate that people were expecting them to be so the same as the original trilogy, and then you go like, well, why would you want them to be the same?
No, you don't want it to be. You want something totally different.
The galaxy solely sucks in the original trilogy,
right?
You want to show how it got there, and so.
Yeah. And then you want to see how it got there, and then now, like, they're making, Rey's coming back, right? Yeah. 10 years after. So I'm super happy to see what that looks like, 10 years after, her rebuilding the Jedi Order. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited for that too.
Oh, we got to talk some more Star Wars.
Absolutely.
All right, strangest thing you've ever eaten. And you've been all over the place, so you had to eat some weird things.
Is my Australian experience comes into play. Australia is really into game, so any sort of wild animal, they'll eat it. But the strangest thing I ate, I went on a hike in the outback, and we camped out for a night and went to the local grocery store in the middle of nowhere, outback Australia in the Northern Territory, and ate a kangaroo tail.
What?
So yeah, and it's a delicacy to the the Aborigine tribe there. They basically cook it like a hungy, where it's in the ground. Mm-hmm. You put the coals on top and fire.
Yeah, you dig the hole, you put the food in there, and yeah,
and it tastes like pulled pork. It's the weirdest thing, And
interesting.
People eat kangaroo so much there. I think I had, kangaroo burgers and steak and ground kangaroo on pizza. It's a very popular dish.
Interesting. I would have never thought that. But all right, I'll take your word. I mean, listen, I've had frog legs, I've had alligators. I can't say that I haven't had anything weird, here in the US either. So why not?
I'd have to say a consolation would be camel burger. That's also popular in the Northern Territory. There's a lot of camels out there.
Camel burger. All right now. All right. Worst job you've ever had?
So my architecture background, I did a couple of internships. I was going to be a landscape architect, and there wasn't a lot of that in my somewhat hometown in Michigan. I lived north of Detroit. and I had a job for a landscape company. So it's not quite landscape architecture, but it's, landscape architecture adjacent. And they promised me that I would be there to be a designer, to design people's like backyards and landscapes. They did really big clients for like musicians who lived in Michigan. I think Bob Seger was one of their clients.
Mhm.
And I get there and they're like, like first day is my job. They're like, well, we did promise you this, but we're actually going to put you out in the field and you're going to be in, digging up people's yards for their whole summer. And I did like 12-hour shifts, and that was not fun at all.
No,
It was
sounded-
definitely backbreaking work, hard work. I definitely grew an appreciation for people who work blue collar jobs like that, but it was so out of left field. I felt like I was kind of trapped because I needed money. I needed to work and and pay for gas and stuff. So and my boss was a total tool. He was a guy that would literally text pictures of jobs. He would go to the job and text pictures like, hey, this plant looks droopy, or in the yard we would have our materials, and he'd be like, this doesn't look good, and he would put it in like mailboxes and show. He was a little guy too, so he kind of had a Napoleon
complex. The complex. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's what
I would say. That was what I would, I do have appreciation for it now, because that's, I actually enjoy doing some of that stuff now and around my house. But definitely when it was, I think, my first real job, and it wasn't what I was expecting. I did get to eventually design yards later, but by then I was really mad.
It was like, I was over it already.
Yeah, I was already over it.
Yeah, I had something similar. I used to be like, I started in architecture my first year my first time in college. I left and came back a couple times, architecture at Kent, but I went to community college for a little bit, and I was in interior design there, doing interior design. And one of the internships they sent me to was with this tile company. It's like, they were like, I was supposed to be working, helping design with tile and everything. And what they had me do was organize this big, huge wall of tile.
Oh no!
All day.
That sounds so tedious.
I was like, I quit. Like, you're not paying me. First of all, I'm doing this for free. No, I'm out. I'll see you later. So I left. It was like, at least
they were looking for a sucker. It sounded like they were looking for someone that
they did. I was like, yeah, same thing. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to pay you. I'm like, we're going to help you. You're going to be designing and you're going to do this and that. And I was like, cool. I mean, awesome. I mean, that's what I want. And come to find out that it was nowhere near.
Yeah.
I understand you, my friend. I understand you. Okay. So if you were to get a boat, if you were to own a boat, what would be the name that you would name it? What would you name it?
Oh man. I would probably go do a Caddyshack reference and call it the Flying Wasp. I believe that's what they call the boat that ended up getting destroyed by Rodney Dangerfield.
I like it.
Dude, I love it. My dad's favorite movie is, it's a movie we quote nonstop. It would either be that or just a quote from Caddyshack.
What's your favorite baseball movie?
Wow. My favorite is The Rookie with Dennis Quaid.
It's a good one. Inspirational as well. I'm not going to ask you what's your favorite hockey movie, because we both know it's going to be Mighty Ducks.
Oh, for sure.
It's awesome. Okay. Cake or pie?
Cake or pie? I would say 90% time cake, but Thanksgiving, it's pie.
Yeah, absolutely. Name one of the 7 dwarfs.
Dopey.
Good job. What color is your toothbrush?
Blue.
What was your first crush?
First crush, 5th grade. I can't remember the last name, but her name was Lauren. Remember that? I can remember her face.
There you go.
Enough for me.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
You're my wife. She loves mint chocolate chip. I do not.
My daughter's favorite too.
Is it?
She asks for green all the time.
Green. I like it. What was your nickname growing up?
My nickname growing up, I had just moved from Kansas City to Detroit, and my baseball team at the time had 2 Brandons on it. And so my coach decided, since I was the new guy, called me KC. And then that kind of stuck throughout my high school career, in at least the baseball world. People would call me Casey, like, CASEY, but obviously it's KC.
Yeah, I like it. All right. I gave you this one earlier, but I'm gonna give it to you here. Out of all the Disney princess that we have, obviously you are very well aware of the Disney princess, as I am, watching a lot of Disney movies. Which one do you think would make the best spy?
I think the easiest choice would be Mulan, because she does end up, disguising herself and doing all that. But I feel like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, with all the novels she reads, she has to have some sort of skill
that she's just learned. Yeah,
she's learned, and then she might be able to talk her way out of things.
I mean, she did talk her way out of,
getting imprisoned for life, right? So,
exactly. So, I mean, that's a good skill to have right there. So,
I'm glad you asked me that earlier, so I have had time to think of it.
I had some time to think about that one. Brandon, thank you so much for doing this. I had an absolute blast. Where can people find you on the socials, my friend?
Right now I post all my new stuff on Instagram. My handle is Lamarche 32. That's LAMARCHE 32. I do have a website that I'm getting around to updating here pretty soon. It's 32designs.net. That's the number 32 and then designs.net. And then hopefully this whole thread thing becomes a thing, and maybe you'll see more of my stuff on there too.
Yeah, I just signed up for it, so we'll see how it goes. It's just going to be interesting. Although, like first day, over 30 million subscribers, dude. So it's pretty legit. If I have to say so myself. Yeah, and then I'll make sure that I'll put everything on the show notes, so that way people can go ahead and find it and follow you. But my last question is, why the 32?
So when I was in college, and I had worked for the Hot Rods, and I went back to college to finish my degree, Eric Leach, who was then the new GM for the Hot Rods, because Adam Noose had moved to the Sounds and whatnot. He was asking me to do, we did the Bootleggers, and then it was I think maybe the Burritos, or maybe it was the All-Star Game. We started to do that. He basically said, like, you need to come up with some like company name, company logo, so that I can put this on, letterhead or whatever, so my owner doesn't, it doesn't look suspect.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting in, I think it was my geology class, and like what Johnny thinks down, and I just picked my baseball number at the time. It was my high school and my college number, because I was a big Sandy Koufax fan. It's kind of who I emulated.
Yeah.
I was a pitcher in high school and college, so I emulated, and it just stuck. And it's just I thought saying 3-2 sounded fancy, so
I like it. It's good.
It's
I like
better
it.
than 32.
No, 3-2. I like that, because like 3-2, it sounds really cool, and you're right, it sounds really legit. So I like it. Brandon, again, thank you so much, my friend. And then again, we'll stay in touch, because obviously you got some cool stuff then I like to look at on Instagram. So and then we'll see. Good luck to you, and we'll see what the future holds for you, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I had a blast, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Brandon. Now, here's what I need you guys to do, okay? Go and follow him. He is on Instagram. His stuff is great. He's on Twitter. He's also on Threads. Make sure you guys are following. I will put everything in the show notes, so that way you guys can just go ahead, click away, boom, done, okay? All right. Also, like I said earlier in the episode, I am having my show this week, Tuesday and Thursday, okay? The Dad Hat Chronicle Sports Show. at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to have a new co-host. Last week was Donnie. Donnie, you were the man. Thank you so much. Now, this week it's going to be somebody else. Who is it? Well, you're going to have to go ahead and find out. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And then last but not least, I want you guys to do me a huge favor. Go on kirkbrandmedia.com. Make sure you guys are following all those great podcasters and content creators because they're pulling out some great stuff out there, okay? All right. Now that we got the business out of the way, let's go ahead and give you the dad joke of the episode. And here it is. When does royalty watch a baseball game? When it's a night game. All right. I'll see myself out, guys. And until then, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.